Well, I want to thank everybody, first off, for the response for that fan appreciation video I did. I know LANDIS was touched. I mean, he PM'd me right after that and said, dude, you know, feel free to use that any way you want to use it. I want to see you make some money on it, stuff like that. So, hey, again, thanks, big guy. But be that as it may, we brought up Fred Ward on our last show. We didn't elaborate, but I think Fred deserves more than a passing mention because, of course, like I said, everybody remembers him from Tremors and Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins. But he was in another movie. I was trying to write some stuff down here. Back in 1983, there was an ensemble cast movie called Uncommon Valor, which basically was about a bunch of former Vietnam veterans that were recruited by Colonel Rhodes, played by Gene Hackman, to go back and free prisoners that were held in Cambodia and Laos or wherever the hell it was. They, you know, there was people that were left behind. Gene Hackman's son is one of them. Another principal player, Robert Stack, is Harry, who has another son there. What they do is they try to recruit their two sons' old outfits. Fred Ward plays Wilkes, who was a tunnel rat who's been traumatized. Harold Sylvester is Johnson, a helicopter pilot. Red Brown is Blaster, a demolitions expert. Tim Thomerson is Charts, another helicopter pilot. Randall Tex Cobb is Sailor, another tough guy. And Patrick Swayze is a new recruit called Kevin, whose father was killed in the war. Now, what happens is, being that our government isn't about to spring to have a rescue mission, the Robert Stack character Harry has a lot of money and is paid to put this whole thing together. And basically, we get to see all these guys get rounded up from their natural habitats, whatever they're doing, and go through training again, and then get brought into the area only to be stymied by the U.S. government, who basically, you know, surrounds them and says, look, we're going to have to arrest you. And the one in charge goes, I don't want to arrest an old soldier like you, Colonel, but, you know, you can't do this. So basically, they confiscate all their stuff. So they were given advance money to go out and party with, I guess. So they pull the advance money and go into this restaurant, which is a front for a guy who's an arms dealer. So basically, they look at the menu, and this is a really cool scene. The menu, when they flip open the menu, it has pictures of guns, tanks, helicopters, and shit like that. And once the prices come out, Colonel Rhodes goes, well, these entrees are too expensive for our taste. Do you have anything else? Well, he takes them down into a basement where basically, for whatever money they have, they can have this pile of fucking leftover shit. Guns, mines, all kinds of other stuff. So they work to get this stuff together. They basically steal a truck, do a raid on some communist helicopter plants, steal 2 helicopters, and basically use Wilkes' tunnel rat thing to get in. Blaster blows up a bunch of bridges, and they go in and try to pull the people out of the compound. Of course, you know, they lose a few people. Blaster and Sailor are 2 that they lose. They get the POWs they can get, and then fly out. Unfortunately, Rhodes' son is not among them. He, unfortunately, is told that he passed away 2 weeks before they got there. Pretty powerful picture, and actually, when this was shot, there was a hue and cry. If you remember, Ross Perot was saying we have to go back and, you know, get our people out. And, you know, I don't know if we did or we didn't. I don't think we did. You know, it's a really fucked up situation. And I feel bad for the people that, you know, were involved in it, but unfortunately that's life. Up until Fred Ward passed away, the only person who passed away out of this whole ensemble cast was unfortunately Patrick Swayze, due to pancreatic cancer, if I remember right. Other guys, I have fond memories of Tim Thomerson, and I'm going to switch this camera for a second and show you why. See if I can get this picture in. That is Tim and myself at Chiller Theater at a show where I picked him up. Get back down. Hopefully I'm still in the frame, but yeah. I picked up Tim at the Newark airport, and he was shit-faced drunk when I picked him up. We got in my car, and he goes, "We got to go pick up my chick." And I said, "Where's your chick?" "Air Canada." And I said, "Well, what time was she supposed to get in?" 5 o'clock, the same as me. I said, "But yeah, now it's 6 and your plane was late." She goes, "That ain't my fucking fault." So I'm like, "Okay, let me go over there." So I pull up, and he goes in, and I'm sitting there, and the cops come up, and you have to move. And I said, "Tell that to him." And he goes, "Tell it to who?" I said, "That's Tim Thomerson." "Oh, that's Tim Thomerson?" So he walks over, yada, yada, yada. So Tim gets back in my car. He goes, "What's the rules for drinking in a car in New Jersey?" I go, "You can't." He proceeds to empty about 10 airline empty little vodka bottles in my car. So he proceeded to tell me what he needed to get through the weekend, and I proceeded to tell him why I couldn't do any of that stuff, because he wanted coke, smoke, and pussy. I said, smoke we're cool with, coke I don't do, and as far as pussy, I ain't got any, so you're on your own. But anyway, we bonded. And that picture is of me and Tim, 4 o'clock in the morning, in the hotel bar, which they kept open for us, and we're singing Marine Corps songs, which is weird because I was never in the service. Tim was really cool to hang out with, and I saw him once in a Monster Mania, and he sort of wasn't the same type of guy, but I guess everything changes, period of time. Fred Ward, like I said, was great in this thing. It was an ensemble cast. An ensemble cast were spawned by the Magnificent Seven and the Dirty Dozen. And if you count the people going in, there's 7 people. I'm going to bring up another ensemble cast, and this one was in the 90s. And this would have played out beautifully in a grindhouse. It's called the Immortals. The premise of this whole thing is this crime boss, Jack, played by Eric Roberts, gets a bunch of minor league criminals together that basically he pairs them up in twos, and he pairs them with people that would hate each other. Okay, I got to elaborate on that. What they're going to do is they're going to nail a bunch of drop-offs led by Dominic, a mafioso guy. This is all numbers and something like that, but they're going to hit every drop-off. The pairings are Tia Carrere is paired with Chris Rock. Go figure. Who else do we have here? Joe Palantano as Pete is a racist who is teamed with Clarence Williams III, who plays Benny. William Forsythe is Tim, is a homophobe who is teamed with Karen Mulrooney, who plays Kerry, who is a gay guy. There was another guy, let me see now, who was left? I think I might have missed somebody, but... Kevin Bernhardt is Billy, a lawyer, who is teamed with Brian Finley as George, who is sort of mentally handicapped. The reason Jack teams these guys up with each other is so neither one can turn on each other. And they learn to depend on each other during this whole thing. Like the Tim character, their pickup is in a strip bar. And unfortunately, he gets shotgunned by a hooker and he screams at Kerry not to touch him. It seems that he has AIDS because he was a junkie, and Kerry has AIDS because he was a gay man. The whole thing gets crazy as, they rob all these places. Benny tells Pete that he would benefit by his experience and all this other stuff. But in the end of this whole thing, they have all this money and they're all shot to shit. They're all dying. And Chris Rock, for some reason, goes into a comedy routine, which if you look at William Forsythe, who's laying on the couch bleeding to death, he's trying his best not to crack up laughing. So what they do is that Tia Carrere character, Gina, has breast cancer, and she's also pregnant. So they have a couple hostages, which Crazy George throws one out, and they decide to do the same thing with Gina, but they're going to stuff her clothes with money so she can basically afford to have the kid maybe get treatment. After a bunch of shootouts and a lot of crazy shit, I'll tell you, it's definitely worth a look. I don't know if it's on Tubi or you can get it on a budget DVD. It's definitely worth a look. The only 2 remaining characters are George and Jack, and they have to turn the money over to the Yakuza, these Japanese gangsters. And I guess part of the deal was that Jack was supposed to be the only survivor, and he's supposed to kill George. But in the end, he turns and blows, I guess it was Clyde Kasuda who played the head Japanese Yakuza. They blow them all away, and then it ends with them like walking out wondering where they're going to go. Weird ending, but I'll tell you, if you like action and you like, you know, the whole ensemble cast and the interplay between these people who basically, when they're teamed up, they fucking hate each other, but down the road they have to learn to depend on each other and actually give a shit. So, actually, a really, really good film, and I think it would have played out well in a grindhouse. So, that's our episode for today. So, thanks for subscribing. People have told their friends, obviously, and I thank you for that. And the Teespring store is open if you want to buy those t-shirts. There's about 5 or 6 designs up there now. It's 42P's Sleazy Tees at Teespring. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.